Brenda, you ready?
Yeah, I think you're gonna go. It's April what, early? 24.
Good evening. We're going to call the meeting to order. This is the February 2nd regular meeting of the Bath Township Board of Trustees. Happy February. Happy Black History Month. Let's start with a roll call.
Mr. Fewins-Bliss?
I'm here.
Ms. Butler-Challender here. Ms. Hagerman? Here. Ms. Kellerman?
Here.
Mr. Kotke?
Here.
Mr. Rosekrans?
Here.
Ms. Wilson is absent this evening.
Great. Not that she's absent, but the rest of us are here. We'll move next to the civic reflection. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and end with a moment of silence. So please rise if you are able to join us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now a moment of silence. Thank you. Let's start with the approval of the agenda. For those in the audience, we should have copies of the agenda on the lectern for you to follow along. It's also up on the screen. Thank you, Taylor. I have not heard from anyone needing any changes. Anybody?
I asked about strategic plan.
I thought you were asking about a permanent change to the agenda.
Well, that wouldn't be permanent, but it would be for a couple of years. I think we should put something on there so that we hit it every meeting.
Yes, we're going to when we change the agenda.
I see.
Do you want to do that tonight? I don't know that anyone is prepared to speak on it.
No, then no. As long as it's on there next month. or-
We have, well, it won't be
Next
next
meeting.
meeting. We
Next
have to
meeting.
take action to change the agenda,
Oh,
and it will take multiple meetings. But it is on the list of things to change,
okay,
I promise. I won't let you down.
all right.
Got a question. What's going on with the clock?
Don't worry about it, because it's gotta go to a weird setting for me to start the timer if somebody has a public comment, so I got it ready to go.
6,000. Backwards.
You can speak a long time, Al.
All right, so hearing no changes, does anyone want to put forward a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of approval of the agenda as presented tonight, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item 4 on the agenda is disclosures of conflicts of interest. Does anyone have any conflicts of interest to disclose tonight? All right, looks like we're conflict-free tonight. Item 5 is public statement 1. This is limited to 3 minutes, and it's designated for statements concerning current agenda items for tonight only. There's a second opportunity at the end of the meeting for an additional 3 minutes to talk about any other township business that you would like to address. We do have a new clock that will help people see the 3 minutes, because they always say, wow, my 3 minutes went by so fast. Now folks can see where we're at. So if you want to watch the clock, Taylor will be keeping time up there. If you are interested in making public comment, please step up to the lectern, introduce yourself, and have at it.
Hi, my name's David Deal, I live on Slate Road. There's ordinances being changed, or being updated for RVs and mobile living quarters. I have a camper, and by this, which I'm sure is just stating it, and it already exists, and you're updating it, but this says I can't leave my camper on my property more than whatever these minimums are. Or my, okay. It defines it as an RV, travel trailer, fifth wheel, camper, motorhomes, portable shelters. But there's nothing that says I can't leave it sitting in my backyard all year round, not using it.
Correct.
It doesn't separate it, using it and not using it in this.
We'll be sure to ask about that and then during that time. Thank you. Did you have anything else? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Okay.
I did, but then you cut me off and I forgot it. So.
Thank you for that, Mr. Deal. Anybody else want to speak? All right, item 6 is items for county, state, federal, and other agencies. I don't see anyone in the audience who is there, okay? Then we'll move to item 7, which is the consent agenda. We have the minutes of the Planning Commission meeting from December 9th. Does anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda tonight? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move we accept the consent agenda as printed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. There is no discussion because it is the consent agenda, so we'll take a roll call vote.
Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Kotke?
Yes.
Mr. Fewins-Bliss?
Yes,
Ms. Butler-Chalender, yes. Mr. Rosekrans?
Yes.
Thank you.
that motion passes. Thank you. Item 8 is approval of minutes. We have minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting from January 20th, 2026. Are there changes to the minutes or a motion to move forward what's been presented?
I'll make the motion to move to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move those minutes forward and approve them as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting of January 20th as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Item 9 is approval of vouchers. Does anyone have any questions, comments about the vouchers, or a motion to move those forward?
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the vouchers as presented. Any discussion on vouchers tonight? Hearing none, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Kotke?
Yes.
Mr. Fewins-Bliss?
Yes.
Ms. Butler-Chalender, yes. Mr. Rosekrans?
Yes.
Thank you.
That motion carries. Item 10 is the treasurer's report. We won't have another treasurer's report until the next quarter, April 6th. Committee appointments, there are none, and committee reports, there are also none. That moves us into item 13, unfinished business. Items for introduction discussion. We'll start with AA, the Eaton Area Ambulance Service Agreement from our superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. You, as a group, saw this agreement back in June of 2025. You are aware through my updates that this has been through quite a review process, both with the City of DeWitt, DeWitt Township, Olive Township, as well as U of M Health. It has been through their legal department, and that is what this draft is straight from U of M Legal to us. The City of DeWitt has already adopted this agreement and is ready to sign. Both the Township of DeWitt and ourselves have not had it through our board yet. It is my intention, after its introduction tonight, to send it off to Chris Patterson at our legal counsel to have it reviewed. Since it's been through such an extensive review process amongst the other municipalities legal, I don't anticipate anything major, but it is always prudent for us to have our legal counsel review it, because they would be the ones, of course, to represent us should there be any problems or issues. So we will take it to them after this evening and have it back to you, if there are no concerns, at your next meeting on February 17th for consideration for action.
It would be great if Chris looked for just the big issues and not
Correct.
any small issues on this one opportunity to move
That,
this
that
forward.
has been the discussion between Lizzie and I, so that is our plan moving forward.
And then any like major changes between this and then the one that we looked at? like,
Correct.
in June or whenever that was?
Yes. Thank you.
Have you looked at it, Karen? Is there any major changes?
I have been involved with the ongoing changes. One of the big changes is the lease agreement that's now attached as an addendum, and that is for the facilities at DeWitt Charter Township for them to house an ambulance. I would anticipate at times, though not on an ongoing basis nor permanently, but I can anticipate there being times where they would be housed potentially at our fire station or somewhere in Bath Charter Township. They would needed the facilities, but not rising to the area of needing a lease agreement with us at this time.
And this is till 28,
Correct.
December 28.
And it's renewable, yep, for up to 4 years after that. Correct.
The same contract? Or a new one?
Potentially a new one. Yeah.
Any other questions?
But of course, no payments being issued until it is approved by this body.
Do you
Great.
think that helped accelerate getting it to us?
No.
No?
I'm sorry to say that, Trustee Hagerman, but no.
Oh, $35,000 to
I mean,
U of M is
yeah.
probably peanuts.
I mean, this
True.
is,
They
we're
probably
almost,
spent that much on lawyers
we're
to
almost
review
at a
it.
year. We've been doing this since May, June of last year, so, unfortunately, no.
But the important thing is we've had better ambulance service in the meantime.
Correct, we have.
Great. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to the next item.
Thank you.
All right. Item B, citizen group update from me. But I'm hoping, Superintendent, you will assist me in this.
Of course, thank you.
We had the planned meeting last week to inform committee members of the changes to committee structure. It was very well attended. We had to have, I don't know, 25-ish people
At least.
from statutory and advisory committees. They had incredibly great questions, clarifications. I took a robust amount of notes to come back and discuss with Karen. For the most part, I would say there was cautious support of the idea, trying something new and hopefully seeing it work better than our committee structure had been. Karen and I basically asked them to stick with us for a year and help us try this out, and we will certainly do some evaluation to see if this was the right move, and if not, we can move in a different direction. But I was really impressed by the depth of thought that they put into these changes, and what about this, and how does that affect that? So it was definitely the right idea to hold the meeting to get feedback and share with the folks. And Kate came and Sherry came, which I appreciated. So I would invite them to add anything if they have anything after Karen speaks.
Yeah, so I do think that it was an entirely new way for our volunteers in the community to think about the groups. I think we got some great feedback. And as part of that, in my discussion with hearing Trustee Kotke's concerns and Trustee Kellerman's concerns, we did decide that we would be having, there'd be staff minutes, which I think will be helpful to keeping records and documenting what occurred during the meetings. In addition, I think something came out in, there were concerns about with staff, I guess moderating the meetings and kind of directing those meetings, that there would be some type of facilitation. So we've discussed making sure our staff is trained. Though I'm confident in their abilities to run those meetings, we will make sure that we are having some training so that we are ready for that and can make efficient and effective use of our time of our volunteers as well as our staff members. So those examples or concerns came to the top and decided to move forward with doing more with those to make sure we're prepared. So I feel very positive about it. I don't know how many applications we've received. Perhaps the deputy superintendent might have a number on that, but I do think there will be some interest in people joining us again, even though the structure is new.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sherry, Kate, you want to add anything?
I was thinking about it on Tuesday. You guys spent a lot of time talking about the new programming group, and I feel like it's gonna really have a lot of diversity in topics. And I just wondered if it might be a good idea to think about making that committee open to more than just 6 or so people, just given the large variety of topics that might be covered, and maybe the meetings could be, you know, like more specific agendas. Like today, we're really gonna dive in on the senior center programming. This week, we're really gonna talk about the farmer's market or youth soccer or whatever it might be. Because it seems like the people who are really gonna be into talking about one thing, Bath Fest or whatever, might not have any input on the senior center. And I thought that maybe that group in particular might benefit from almost like subcommittees or subgroups.
I think you're on the right track. The supervisor and I actually talked about this, not to cut you off.
No, but that's something that I was just sort of thinking about in hindsight after really thinking about how that particular group would operate. It felt a little cumbersome. Yeah. And I wouldn't want people to be put off because they really want to talk about senior center, but they don't have any interest in sitting through the farmer's market discussion. I would hope that we could come up with a way to sort of accommodate that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Specifically around Bath Fest, we talked
Yeah.
about that no doubt needs to be a subcommittee. It can't be 6 people and asking everything of these 6 people,
Right.
also be the Bath Fest people. So I think Karen's been thinking about that as well. But I see your point. There's so many topics that we need, in order to even have expertise on each of those topics, it might need to be more than 6 people.
Right. And then I think I sort of share Ray's concern with the reporting back to the board part of it. I know we talked about that quite a bit, and I watched the video of the last meeting when I wasn't here, and I know Ryan shared that as one of my concerns. But that's another thing I was sort of hoping for, is to see how that is going to play out and when that will start.
I planned to share during my superintendent's report, but I will be bringing a departmental reporting schedule to the board at the next meeting in February. So you will have an opportunity to see that and have feedback on that as well.
Ditto that we need subcommittees. There's too many people interested in, like, Park Lake versus the senior center, et cetera. The Bath Fest is gonna take everybody's energy for that time, that we need to have separation. I think more people total, subgroups, whatever works.
Anything else? Taylor, did you want to weigh in on numbers or anything?
I haven't received any applications as of yet, but it was just included in the Friday report on Friday, and the website has been updated with the new information. I'm planning to put out a Facebook post this week.
Our hope, if anybody knows of anyone, is to have the first round of applicants by the end of February to start making some decisions about placement on those groups.
So there's been no applications?
Since our meeting with the committee members last week on Tuesday, no, it appears there haven't been any.
Okay.
I handed mine in.
You did hand yours in.
You lost
No,
mine.
no, we've got you.
And you indicated that you would have 1 trustee per cycle help you with the selection. Have you made a determination for this cycle?
I asked Trustee Kate Hagerman to serve on the first cycle, and she's agreed to that. Now she's changed her mind.
No, it's fine.
Thank you for that, Kate. We'll keep you updated, and by we, I mean Karen, because this is where I sort of step back. Now it's
I love that he is
staff's,
just Karen.
staff's job. But obviously, I think we need to keep our eyes and ears open as we talk to community members about how they're feeling about the structure and ability to engage their local government.
Agreed. Thank you.
Item 13AC is the plan for discussing revenue options. You will see in your packet the memo that I keep sharing with you, but I keep updating it. We have made a selection on the date, and thank you everyone for being flexible with your calendars. It is this Thursday, the 5th, from 3 o'clock. We've got the sort of time booked until 6 o'clock, but our presenter does not believe that it will take that long. So we may end prior to 6 o'clock. Do I have that date right?
Excuse me, he said it might take,
He
The
has
total
put
3
together,
hours.
yeah, he has put together his resources.
Wait, that's not what he said to us.
you get an email today.
We got an
Oh.
email today. We got an email today, and he believes it'll take the entire time.
Yes.
For the record, I told him I thought it would too.
Mr. Supervisor, you were correct.
Thank you, that's all I was looking for. No, I think we have a lot to learn, is my point. So I'm glad that he's on board with that. But Rod Taylor is going to be our presenter. He's one of our financial support systems with Maynard Casteris, and who does some of our accounting. Rod has been very helpful in a lot of the things that we've been doing over the last year, as has Lizzie, in giving us sort of that legal and financial view. And he knows townships because he has helped lead townships. So I think he'll be a great presenter. My plan is to send to you the webinar from the MTA site on, what's it called? Pennies in your pocket?
Correct.
Quarters in your
Pennies in your couch.
something like that. Some amount of money in some place that you can watch. It's about an hour long, and I promise you I would not send you a boring webinar. It is, every bit of it was very, very interesting, and I learned a lot. Jen said the same thing. It's not required before you come to the meeting, but I think it would be really helpful. I learned that we have the ability to do a bunch of things that I don't think any of us realized, so it's worth a watch. And then Rod will take over from there on Thursday to walk us through the various options for revenue. And I want to be very clear to you all and to the public, this is not a statement that we're going to use all of those options or even any of those options, but we do know that we've got about $500,000 annually that we've got to shore up, which either is new revenue or fewer expenses. That is one of the things we will be looking at as well. But I just don't want anyone to panic thinking that we're gonna push every lever to get all the revenue. We're looking for some things that will help alleviate some pressure on our budget. That would be strategic. So that is a public meeting. Folks are invited to come. I hope the public comes and learns alongside us on what these revenue options look like and engages with us in that way. We're calling it a workshop meeting, but that does not mean it's going to be an open meeting engaging all of the people. It will still be a special meeting of the board in which we will have a presenter who will talk, and it will be board members speaking other than at the public statement time. So I just want to make sure that's clear for anyone who wants to join us, but I do encourage folks to join us. Any questions on that event? All right, I'm looking forward to learning alongside you all. That brings us to the end of unfinished business items for introduction, and now we have some items for action. We have the Webster Road manhole project, again, for the superintendent.
Yes, thank you. Brad Gursky, the director of SCUMA, is here with us again. He sent over both an estimate from plumbers as well as a memo, so if he'd like to speak to those, if you have any questions on those, and then I can offer the action item for us this evening. If you have additional questions, we're both here for you.
Brad, you can't get enough of us.
No, that's good. Keeps them busy. I like it. I appreciate the time tonight and consideration of this project. I know we brought it to you the last meeting and meeting before that to at least to consider. And we were planning on around a $350,000 project. We got a good price back from Plumbers. Plumbers is the ideal installer for the product we would be looking for. And it came in at $268 and some change. So that was a blessing in disguise in terms of everything going on with the sewers in Bath and projects that are planned. So we're looking to move forward with that project. If the Bath would like to do that, this is the ideal candidate and ideal vendor to do it with. We've installed one of these, well, multiple of these units in the township. We've had other systems in as far as manhole lining products as well. This by far has been the most robust and best lasting product of any of them. So this product is what I call like a cured in place product, similar to the pipe lining process. It's a felt membrane saturated with an epoxy. Once this is installed, expanded, essentially you've got a brand new manhole. It just uses the old manhole as a form. So it's an extremely cost-effective way to ensure longevity in the system.
What's the life expectancy?
Unknown. Realistically, it's scheduled at 50 years.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been out quite that long. So
With no UV exposure, epoxy could last
yep, it's
a long time.
It's an unknown. The other systems we have that have had similar lifespans, we haven't seen them last nearly that long. We've seen them deteriorate in that amount of time. This is the only product that I've seen that has shown zero wear or deterioration or oxidation over time. So I was happy to see that they came in aggressively and wanted to move forward with the project as well.
Yeah, I would offer, not many of our partners call and offer me a lesser price for a job of this nature. So when Brad called, it was good news that it was less than we anticipated. So I very much appreciate your work in securing that.
Party time.
With the manholes deteriorating, if they keep deteriorating like they are, will the epoxy stand up to the dirt that's behind them?
Yes, essentially though, when we install this, it completely isolates that manhole, the concrete structure, from deteriorating any farther. So, there will be no more deterioration of that manhole structure once we install this product. So you don't have to worry about, but it is a standalone product. It is designed to be, if somehow the outside would cave away or fall away, it would be a standalone structure.
How thick is it?
It's based on structural needs, so it's based on depth and material around it. Similar to a pipelining scenario, so it's all based on what the existing structures are above and around it.
Yeah. I thought that was fascinating how they do that.
Yeah,
It is.
yep. Yeah, it's a good product.
Got one more question. The sewer was put all together at one time. Is this the only manholes that are bad? Or are the ones in Park Lake and over towards Myers?
These are the worst manholes in the entire system, so this isn't just Webster Road. We went through and found out the worst ones that we think would be needing it within the next half a decade. You know, there could potentially be some that come in behind it, but typically we see manhole deterioration from hydrogen sulfide, and that's typically in a fall situation. So you have a pipe coming in high, dropping in. When that drops, the hydrogen sulfide is released. That's what corrodes the concrete in the structure. So really, mainly what we've targeted is any of these drop manholes where we have seen the and drive failure. That was a drop manhole situation. So most of them we see them in is these drop manholes, and within one or two each way, upstream and downstream of those manholes. And this is what we targeted through the entire system. So in theory, we always do a manhole inspections, and we keep a list, and as that goes on. But this would cover the township for
All of the lift pumps we got.
this would be a long-term solution, and I wouldn't anticipate seeing another manhole lining project at any time soon.
Karen, could you remind us how we have this balance sitting at SCUMA of $750,000 that we're going to draw down from?
So if you recall, each year SCUMA sends a letter over to the superintendent and the clerk and asks if we want the excess amount to be returned to the township, or we make another decision. And when we make the decision to hold those funds are placed in this account, and the money is available for us to use. I don't know if there's any other ways in which our money is directed into that account, or is it just mainly the excess funds each year?
Yep, so it's excess funds, and then 7% on a 3-year rolling average of your collection account. So every year, the BATH 102 account, when I go through the budget, that is BATH's sole budget for operating this collection system. We take a 3-year rolling average of that, that's by policy, and that's additionally rolled into your monthly payments. So you're paying into that on a monthly basis, reserving funds, but then additionally, the main source of revenue comes from return funds from the previous year after actuarial is complete. So it's constantly growing, all the municipalities participate in it, it's all invested, no different than your folks do here. It really just benefits from the larger piece of the larger bucket being invested, and everybody benefits gaining from that.
So you parse out the investment benefits to each of the funds?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions or thoughts? Can you tell us what action you're looking for?
So if you're amenable tonight, I would like you to authorize me to proceed with the manhole rehabilitation project, utilizing services from plumbers, for a total project cost of $282,051. And then that would be, with some contingency funds, it gives us a little cushion for Brad and I to work with if anything pops up that we need to address. And then this is also in the memo that I provided to you on the first page, with funds utilizing Bath's lift station reserve at SCUMA. So it's all written out for you.
I'll make that motion. You want me to repeat it again? I can.
You have to repeat it for the secretary.
Thankfully, I write these for the secretary.
Kind of redundant, Brenda, but.
All right, we have a motion and a second to authorize the superintendent to proceed with the sanitary sewer manhole rehabilitation project utilizing services from Plumbers Environmental for a total project cost of $282,051 with funds from Bath Township's lift station reserve at SCUMA.
I apologize, Mr. Supervisor, I didn't hear the second.
I
Al.
didn't either.
Al, thank you, Al.
No, that's fine.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Other questions, thoughts? All right, hearing none, we'll probably do a roll call vote on this. Take it away.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Mr. Kotke?
Yes.
Mr. Fewins-Bliss?
Yes.
Ms. Butler-Challender, yes. Mr. Rosekrans?
Yes.
Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, that motion carries. We don't want to
Thank
see,
you.
have you seen in our township insulting our manholes anymore.
Thanks, Brad.
That brings us to item BB, employee medical dental reimbursement accounts. This one's a little unique and different. Can you walk us through this?
It is, thank you. So tonight I am asking you to consider, the township has had in-house employee medical dental reimbursement accounts that have been funded, since I have been here, at least since 2012, I think, when they switched insurance. Previous to that, they had accounts for each employee at a bank. These have been $1,000 a year provided by the township, and you were able to roll over to previous years. It was back in the day. I'm saying I was gonna cover, it's different now, but is it 2 previous years? Yes. Okay, thank you. As of the last union agreement, we follow the same growth pattern that they had as well, and they had asked several, I think within the last 3 years, they asked for that amount to grow to the 1,500 that it was in 2025. So 2024 was 1,400, 2025 was 1,500. So the total amount any individual employee could have in their account at this time is up to $2,900. As you recall, back late fall, when you decided to help us change the employee health insurance benefits, this is an item that you weighed in on. This is also an item not only did you weighed in on, but we also cannot continue to fund as per our new insurance policy. It is considered basically when you offer funds such as this, you're basically offering the funds for people to utilize the health insurance, and it becomes a larger liability for the health insured plan to take care of our employees. So back when we were making those changes, I had indicated my preference would be to pay out those funds, those remaining funds, to our employees. I have brought that to you because that is a very, while I budgeted for it, it is something that has not traditionally been done here at the township, and is changing as well with union negotiations as well. So thought we would bring it here and have a conversation. I've listed for you each of our 32 employees that have these accounts. You can see all the amounts that are listed here are those obligations that we would have if you decided to pay this out, with a total of $43,848.59. We did have some employees, 2 or 3, that have utilized their funds in full and no longer have an account balance in that account. Right now, employees are submitting expenses with receipts and getting reimbursed for services from 2025. If we decided to proceed with this at the end of March, they would no longer need to submit those receipts. We would pay it out to them through most likely accounts or payroll, because it would have to be taxed. The guidance that we received from legal counsel and our supervisor, you were correct, it would need to move through the accounts I keep wanting to say, instead of moving through the accounts payable system, it would have to move through payroll. So it will be taxed for those people. If you have any questions, I'm happy to explain. I know it's a complicated process, but it's one that's worked really well.
I don't see any employee with 0.
I didn't list them here. I think there were 3
Oh,
of them.
there's 3 more, so we got,
Yep, 3 more.
we got
Correct.
35 employees. Okay.
Yep.
So this is included with a union contract? They're not asking for the, oh, it can't stay, I'm sorry.
I
We're
would
not
let
allowed
the-
to have it stay.
I would
any
let
longer.
Lizzie speak to that if she's comfortable.
Right, the clerk is correct that regardless of what happens, this account will not proceed. So the questions are to, I suppose you could let it sit, but you can't use it to reimburse health insurance or dental-related costs anymore because that would cause problems for your current plan. So the question is, do you essentially somehow keep this to yourselves to help fund some of the various things that you've been evaluating? Or to the superintendent's point, which I think is well stated in the memo, the health insurance plan change evolved relatively quickly at the end of the year when there was the resolution of some of the difficulties in changing over, thanks to the U of M taking over the health plan. For what it's worth, my firm had to go through the same thing. I'm not totally convinced that our employees here at the township had full opportunity and awareness of probably need to make these incur these expenses in 2025 to use that fund. And that may mean that they then, maybe there were some, I don't know, braces to get ordered or whatever it was that could have been utilized and wasn't because they weren't aware that this was going to be a closing benefit. This payout concept is consistent with what we are in talking about with the PULC. We've had great conversations with them about that, looking to finalize some materials soon. And I think it was telling to me that you can see there's a wide variety of usage. There are some people who have already utilized the funds and have made great use of that benefit over the years. There are others who've just used it there, maybe for an emergency, maybe they were saving for those braces, and now they wouldn't have that resource available to them, I think is the position that the superintendent has articulated. Having said that, of course, it's not an insubstantial amount of money when it's aggregated, and I think that's why the superintendent feels it's appropriate to bring it to you for ultimate decision.
Could they use these funds for their premium?
I don't think so. A traditional HRA where we to have an actual HRA with a system, I don't think would be able to use for the premium component. It's usually for those expenses that are incurred.
Could
So
they
the
put it in their
premiums-
retirement fund?
I'm sorry?
Can they put it in their retirement fund so they wouldn't have to pay tax on it?
So the DC that the non-union employees are in is based on their base salary. So no, because this would be in addition to their base salary, this would not qualify for them to put into theirs. It would qualify for the police union if,
I don't think that's the question he's asking.
Oh.
I think the question you're asking is, could you take the $117.66 that employee 8 have and direct it to my retirement
No.
as a contribution? And the answer to that is no.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. Sorry.
And these are all township funds. These aren't like commingled funds that staff
Correct.
put in.
No, this is
These are
strictly
township
township
dollars.
funds.
So there's no 2023 money in here, right? Because we've
Correct.
moved past that
We've
time
moved-
frame. But will you help me wrap my head around the 2 years? So like right now in 2026, should we have been in the same plan?
Mm-hmm.
Could staff use 2024 and 2025 dollars? That's the 2 years?
And they would have received new funds
Okay.
in 2020, the
Yeah,
beginning of
yeah, yeah,
2026.
but
Okay,
the key is that
yes, they would have been able to.
old funds could still be used.
Correct.
So
This is-
people in their minds could have been saying like, I plan to use this money in this way, okay.
It's a rolling 3 years. It's a rolling 3 years that we've always been able to accumulate and use.
What does that mean?
So if we would've had the money this year, we could've used 24, 25, and 26.
Okay, so it's
So
like
it's
3
every
years.
3 years.
Got it. Thank you.
Mr. Kotke?
So, in a nutshell, what you're asking is to pay this out in a lump sum to each of these employees, and so
Correct.
it's gonna be a windfall, basically.
It would be, that's,
And they
yeah.
don't have to get
Maybe
their
if you
teeth fixed to
consider
get it.
$117 a windfall.
Well, they used up the rest of it, so,
Well, they might not have been here very long.
well, that's possible, yeah, that's a good point. So technically, they could use it for anything.
Correct, at that point, correct.
Including premiums,
After taxes,
Which is why it's taxed, yeah.
state and local.
yeah. Well, I guess that would, be rather magnanimous of us, definitely.
I think in context, and I'm perhaps inferring a little much, but I would also say that we certainly had some extraordinary increases that were unexpected and new and different. I won't say extraordinary in the sense that you have gone way off the rails, but those were new and different and now coming out of paychecks differently than they were for in particular your non-union staff, and I think that's been a major adjustment. And I know that in our conversations, as we work through this on the union side and sorting out what the township's position would be, that's a relevant consideration as well.
I would say that I wouldn't consider it a windfall, even the large amounts, when it's money that you were already at one point in time told you were going to be able to spend. And you elected to not spend it, perhaps saving it up for something, braces or whatever. I
Potentially
wouldn't
losing.
consider that a windfall.
Well,
Maybe just good planning that was sort of pulled out from underneath you.
a windfall is basically getting something you didn't expect, so. that's
Well,
what
they
this
knew
is.
this money was
Well,
there.
in 24 and 25, they certainly were expecting it up until about December when we changed their plan.
So we're both right.
Sure.
Just a silly argument here. What if you equalized it and gave each employee the same amount?
That wouldn't be equal,
Because they
because they
already
get the same amount up front. It's just some of them have spent it and some of them have not.
So you'd be
But they
taking
all
money
got
from
the same amount put
someone,
into
yeah.
their assigned account at one point in time.
Thank you.
I don't think that would be a popular choice, and especially if you were
I bet you would be for employee number 8.
employee number 13 and 14, you would not be happy.
20,
So,
24,
motion.
27.
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion to approve this disbursement of funds to the employees, effective March 31st.
I'll support
No,
it.
Lizzie shook her head no, and you shook her
I
head.
would,
April 1.
if I may suggest, Trustee Kotke, that you move to authorize the superintendent to execute the payout of employees' remaining medical dental reimbursement accounts after March 31 of this year.
What she said.
And I supported it.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Brenda.
Thank you.
All right, so we've got a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Go ahead, Al.
There's, I know at Michigan State, when we used to get a bonus check, and this is basically what this is, you're getting your money back, they charge you a higher interest rate
Well, I remember.
on your taxes.
Tax rate, yeah.
And so they're gonna do that on this, right? So they're going to pay about 40% instead of their 24,
Well, this isn't wages,
I think
so
it's like
possibly.
22%.
22%?
I think so.
Yeah, I also think that, I'm not sure what the in-house standards are, but, typically employees have the right to adjust their withholdings if they get it done before the payroll is to be processed. So certainly part of the education, going back to a theme that Trustee Hagerman is really good about reminding us all, communicating about, hey, this is what we're planning to do if you wish to make adjustments to your withholdings, so that you are not as tremendously impacted.
For 1 month,
Or even that particular payroll, certainly.
okay.
Great point.
I think it's a
Would
good
it be
idea,
a
Karen.
hardship on the staff to perhaps spread this out over multiple pays? To essentially try to accomplish the same thing? Is that too much work?
I think it would be cleaner if
Okay.
it was just all paid in one.
Yeah.
I mean, just kind of balancing, we have to go in and adjust everybody's withholdings who requests it versus spreading it
Yeah,
out
and in
over
terms of
multiple
our
pays.
audit, I think it would create more issues for the auditing as well if it was, it was spread out over multiple.
Yeah, because even if you change the withholdings, the tax rate's gonna be the tax rate. It's either gonna catch you now or catch you later.
Right, okay.
Yep.
Or you'll get it back later.
Right, right. All right, we got a motion and a second. These are great questions. Other questions, thoughts, concerns, ideas?
You all set, Cheryl?
All right, hearing none, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Mr. Kotke?
Yes.
Mr. Fewins-Bliss?
Yes.
Ms. Butler-Chalender, yes. Mr. Rosekrans?
Yes.
Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Ms. Kellerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
That brings us to item 14, new business, items for introduction discussion. We start with our zoning ordinance, amendment number 3190, mobile temporary living facilities and structures by our planner.
How's it going, board? As I think I brought to you guys a couple of times in the past, there's 2 items on your agenda tonight that are kind of intrinsically linked to each other. So rather than talk about kind of A and B separately, which I guess I'll have to do in some respects, I'm gonna at least lay it out initially here, talking about both of them. the reason that you're having two items, two different ordinances brought to you tonight instead of just one, you could debate, you know, how exactly to go about this, but the thinking on the planning department and staff side is largely related to implementation of these ordinances. So one of the ordinance item, small a is the zoning ordinance side, and then small b is a regulatory ordinance. So as I'm sure a lot of people are aware, but it's probably worth stating for people that may not be, one of the critical factors between a zoning or regulatory ordinance of why you might want both is one, for enforcement authorities are different. So the zoning ordinance is enforced by the zoning administrator, a regulatory ordinance is enforced by the code compliance officer. So building in that duality of ordinances can help share responsibilities and have redundancies in the system as staff may change over the decades. There can be consistency in enforcement. So that's one reason. Another reason, and this is a big one, is that zoning ordinances, there can be a thing known as legal nonconformities, more commonly known as grandfathering. And it's a term that I use because people know what it means. Regulatory ordinances do not work in the same manner. A regulatory ordinance, there is no legal nonconformity. Once the regulatory ordinance is in play, that is now the law of the land. A good example of this would be noise ordinance. So let's say you run I'm trying to think of an example here, but let's say you like to DJ in your backyard on the weekends, and a noise ordinance is changed. Just because you were DJing last weekend, once that noise ordinance goes into effect, you're now DJing within the standards set out in the noise ordinance. You're not a legal nonconformity DJ because last weekend you did it and now this weekend you can as well. So that's kind of the best metaphor scenario I can come up with on the fly. With that being said, I would like to also say, I do appreciate the public coming out tonight. I would say we do a lot of these ordinances where I think there's gonna be an impact to the community, and we're actively seeking input at the planning commission and the board, and we usually don't hear anything, so it is kinda nice to get some feedback. I'll try to address that, a little bit here. As some of the board members that have served on the planning commission know, and our board member that's currently serving on the planning commission know, we can get pretty in the weeds in the planning commission and get pretty into the details. So when we're debating terms and phrases and looking at the ordinance in a very high, or a very micro way, it can be hard for us to see the big picture, and because we're looking at ordinance all the time, the way we're reading it is probably not the same way that members of our community might be reading the ordinance. So what I'll say, the ordinance does say a lot, and what it does say is what you can do with what we're calling a mobile quarter, an RV, a fifth wheel, a trailer, or even a sprinter van. We're all putting that into kind of the mobile quarters definition. Now, what it importantly doesn't say is it doesn't say you can't have those things. Now, I can of course see where clarity could have been created on our end, and I guess that's something I'm hoping to tonight. I think it's been brought to light that there was some confusion. I think that's always good to take into note, and I think that confusion could largely be rectified via like a 10 or 12 word sentence, just to clarify what our intention is. But my read on what we brought before the board tonight is nowhere in this ordinance does it say you're not allowed to own an RV and park it in your driveway. What the ordinance does say, on both the zoning and regulatory side, and this was the reason that the kind of catalyst event of why we're even talking about this and why we're here tonight. What it largely addresses is once an RV is in said driveway, accompanying a single family home, a dwelling unit, a permanent structure, there's lots of terms that you could assign to that. Once that is in the driveway, these are a bunch of rules on how that RV is allowed to behave. And they're largely around, and our intention was to largely structure policies around people trying to permanently live in that RV in said driveway.
So you can have the structure
Yeah,
in
mobile quarter, yeah.
your lawn and your backyard, you just
Yep.
can't live in it.
Yep, just can't live in it permanently full-time. However, what we also did wanna make an important distinction at the planning commission is, people come to visit their relatives, and sometimes they do that in an RV, so the current interpretation of our ordinance as it stands today is, actually, that's not permitted as our ordinance reads now. So we did wanna build carve-outs into this framework to allow people, grandma and grandpa, wanna drive an RV, again, I'm just coming up with a scenario on the fly here, but they wanna drive an RV to their relatives in Bath Township, Michigan, they wanna park for 4 days while they're visiting, and then they're gonna leave. These standards now do make it clear, that's totally fine, you can do that, we're fine with that. So it builds in some restrictions, but it also builds in clarity on something that the planning commission was fine with, that right now, one could feasibly interpret our ordinance not to allow.
It seems really generous, 30 days.
Yeah, we
Who
went
wants
back,
their family to come for 30 days?
There was a lot of discussion
there
along
was a
those
lot of
lines with the
discussion on
planning
that
commission.
timeline.
You could
yeah.
provide help to residents by saying the ordinance says you can't stay anymore, Grandma, time to go.
Argument can be made either way, and it was made at the planning commission in quite very many ways. But those were the numbers that the planning department and planning commission kinda landed on.
Okay, did you want to add to
Well, I was
that?
gonna say, I think it also allows for, like, if you had to repair your house and couldn't live in your regular house, but you have this RV, like if you had a fire or something, it would allow you to live in there as well, with the understanding that this is a temporary situation and there's progress happening on your project and whatnot.
Yeah, and the term that, I think it was you, Kate, that came up with the term we ended up going with.
Well, I used AI to help find the proper term, but yes.
Yeah, so we came up with the term, force majeure, which is a Latin phrase that means extenuating circumstance have taken place. A tornado came through, your house, was in the way, unfortunately, of course, and now.
Act of God.
Yeah, you have to, in the zoning language, that is the language it's in Beth's standards and the Land Division Act and the taxing language that Beth operates under, they use the term act of God. We were seeking to use a different term that's commonly understood, which is force majeure, but essentially it means the same thing.
Yeah.
And so then it allows, if something, terrible happens, a carve out for somebody to rent an RV, park it on their property while they're going through the tenuous and long process of working with your insurance company to rebuild your home, which anyone that's ever been through that process knows, that's not something that's gonna happen in 30 days. So there's a lot in there, I agree, and this is why I appreciate people coming out. I think I'd be in favor of adding a sentence to create clarity, if that's fine with the board, speaking to your question, just something that says shortly, like,
Could you turn around speaking to me, this says specifically, a unit is designed, intended to, for use occupancy, which then declares that it's not being used for occupancy, this still fits in this.
you're saying under the definition of mobile quarter?
I think you guys can work out the language
Yeah,
later,
yeah,
if you don't mind.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
But I appreciate that. So we might see some changes before this comes for us for a vote, is what,
Yeah, I'd like to build in one sentence just to create
Okay.
clarity.
are you gonna run that through planning commission, or do you think?
I don't think it's
I think the
necessary
planning
at all.
commission
The
Okay.
intent from the planning
knows.
commission's already there, unless.
Yeah, it'll just take a little bit longer. Well, that's great.
No, I don't think it needs to go back to the planning commission, and I think, it may just be about, structure, because the introductory portion of the proposed section 1519 changes, it's very clear that it's talking about temporary building structures and mobile quarters, which are placed on a lot of record and occupied. So the and occupied is a conjunctive, it requires the occupancy, not just the fact that it exists there. As a longtime camper, when I was growing up, we had the RV in the background all the time. But I think it's worthy of a review. Otherwise, it can come back to the board once you've got those changes, as long as they're properly indicated.
For sure, okay, I appreciate that, and yeah, I mean, clarity is always the name of the game when doing these things, and
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know if the board has any, I guess the last thing I'll say, and this was talked about quite a bit at the planning commission, so it's probably worth noting. Whenever you're creating any ordinance, the question is this even enforceable, right? Like, we don't wanna write something that at the end of the day isn't gonna solve whatever the stated issue is. And so the question came up, well, how would you know, Miles, like planner of path, if somebody is actually living long-term in a trailer? And the answer to that is, oh, you'll know. Like, it'll be pretty obvious, and
Neighbors is really the answer.
yeah, in my experience, especially, this might be, the answer to that might be harder if we lived in a more moderate climate zone like California, but in Michigan, if you're living in one of these through the winter, you have to insulate these. It's gonna be very obvious that it's been prepped and insulated for full-time living through the winter.
Can you explain a little bit, you said you arrived, you and the planning commission arrived at 30 days?
Yeah.
And how did you arrive? I don't need the long journey around, I just, what was the discussion that led you to optimally, that's the number?
I mean, I'm kinda looking at Kate, but we had a long discussion about, well, I have this experience with my family, this is kinda, so it was subjective in nature, as many of these things when we're trying to put a dimensional or a temporal, restraint, at some point you just have to kinda decide, hey, this is the number we're going with. And we can do all kinds of studies and look at different ordinances, which we did, but, largely, it was based upon us looking at what the landscape was and what's common and what we saw in other municipalities, and then what the lived experience of some of the planning commissioners were with their family that they've either gone to visit or had come visit here. And I think the conversation came up about the seasonality of the hunting season a lot in Michigan, and family coming out for kind of those seasonal sports, and that kind of drove the number higher to 30 when it was originally closer to 15. But one thing that we did too was we put those times into event series, right? So you get, I think it's 2 30-day events or 2 or 4 15-day events. So let's say you had one event that was 25 days, that's one event used, and then they come in again for another 20-day event. The reason we needed event timelines is to avoid something that I think I've talked to several of you about, which MDOT and the DNR are dealing with right now on their properties, and crafting language similar, is people coming and saying, well, I was here for 2 days, and then I left for a day, and now I'm back for 2 days, and they just play that game. Having it dialed into a series of events says, all right, well, even though you were here for 2 days, you've done that 6 times now, so we're 2 times outside of our event cap. So there's a time element in terms of days, but there's also a time element in terms of series of events.
Okay, so it seems like it's reasonable for a family member to come and visit. Lizzie comes and sees me, she stays for 30 days, and she's off to the next stop. But what it doesn't seem to fix is the force majeure. I mean, of course, if a tornado blew some shingles off your roof and you just need to fix your roof or you replace some windows, of course, it seems it would be adequate.
I think that's addressed separately.
Yeah, it's addressed separately.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
if, yeah,
Thank you.
that's addressed
Well,
separately.
if you have a force
This is-
majeure event,
Okay.
you're outside of what we just talked about.
Okay, and then that's what it seemed like it would be.
Isn't that limit 180 days?
It is, and then I believe there's also a separate process that says if we need a exemption from that or extenuation, you can come before the zoning board of appeals and request.
I'm sorry, I just didn't go that far. Thank you.
We spent quite a bit of time, I think, talking about that, trying to find what we thought was the balance between what's reasonable to allow people to do things that we think are reasonable, but not so lenient that it's very easy to take advantage of and be right back into the situation that we're trying to write this ordinance to prevent. And we also, Miles said that, let's have a starting point, and if it doesn't seem like it's the right one, we can always adjust it down the road
I
after we've
certainly think that you guys put
tried
time
it out.
into it, so
Yeah,
thank
we
you
did
for
have,
that.
Yeah,
I
if it
think,
doesn't
quite a
work,
bit
we'll
of
adjust.
discussion about it. But we have to start somewhere, I think.
How are you gonna monitor from the time they come till the time they leave.
That's a good point. So we talked about that at the plan, that came up at the planning commission, of course, too, and that kinda goes into my question, like, you don't wanna write any ordinance that at the end of the day isn't enforceable. The scenario that was kinda laid out was, of course, the township doesn't we have like no staff here. So we don't have people like driving around figuring out like where people in RVs are, that'd be crazy. What the scenario would likely be I live in a house, my neighbors had an RV parked in their driveway, they're calling the township and they're saying, hey, these people have been here for like 3 months and they're living out there, like they're grilling, it's insulated for the winter, I don't know what's going on. At what point, we're now made aware of the situation, just like we are with all ordinances in Bath Township, we're complaint driven. So now, we would go out, talk to the owners, probably inform them of this ordinance, cause unlike, these people here, a lot of people aren't just reading our ordinances and keeping up to date, so there's always that initial education period. Hey, this is what the rules are in Bath Township, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. 9 times out of 10, once you tell people kinda what the rules are, like, I had no idea, I'm so sorry. But 1 out of 10 times, they're like, alright, sounds good. And so then, at that point, we'll be paying attention. And we'll be working with whoever the complainant was, and we would just have to keep an eye on it. And again, in theory, I think you could surmise that it might be hard to tell what was going on with the situation, but in reality, it'll be very clear they're living there more than 30-day periods of time. In which case we'll be able to enforce.
What if you have a trailer and your kids want to spend a few nights out there
You're fine,
in summertime?
you're fine.
That's not their permanent residence at
It's not
that
their
point.
permanent
No,
residence.
I
They're
know,
not trying
but-
to occupy it permanently.
This might not be somebody else's permanent resident. He might say, well, I'm only here for 2 weeks because I'm homeless.
Well, I'm only here for 2 weeks because I'm homeless, you're fine, because it's within, you would start period 1. The problem then occurs though, where 2 weeks turns into 2 years. Now we're in a serious situation that needs to be addressed, and it isn't sustainable or healthy for anybody involved, by the way.
I do think it's probably worth pointing out, though, that there are going to be probably a few people who are going to have to find some new living arrangements once this comes into play and property owners are made aware of it. There are some people who this is their current living situation, so we are going to be putting them out of that, which we also discussed at the planning commission, but,
What about grandfathered then?
No, see, intentionally so, we're structuring a regulatory ordinance regime with this to exclude that ability.
Will the judge do that though? Will he agree with you? You're taking,
That's probably.
we've made a lot of ordinances in this township, and you cannot support them with a judge that will say, no, you're wrong. So you're going to the courts, and it's costing you money. Gonna cost us money, and they're gonna say, oh, you can't do that.
Yeah, so, I'm always can be heard to say we can never guarantee what somebody in a black robe is going to do. They win, they're the 600-pound gorilla every time, but what we do know is that when we're taking this approach of addressing the regulatory side, which is what we often call like the public health, safety, welfare types of ordinances, and also doing something similar in the zoning, which is about land use and how our properties are utilized. When you do both of those things at the same time, you have essentially created, I don't wanna say a catch-all, but it catches both sides. So let's say, for instance, a judge says, I don't buy that this is a land use. I'm not convinced that this is something you should be regulating under your zoning ordinance. You can't enforce your zoning ordinance. The default is then you have the authority as a township to enact ordinances for the public health, safety, and welfare. And you have a regulatory ordinance that mimics what you were doing with zoning, and the same can be said on the reverse. So can I guarantee that if this comes to a circuit court judge here in our beautiful Clinton County, that our circuit court judge is going to agree every time? No. Is it possible that there may be some education that we need to work on and maybe some collaboration with the judge to ascertain? Certainly, but this strategy is one not only that the township does regularly, when we talk about changing the zoning ordinance and our regulatory ordinances, but it is something that is done across the state to ensure that there is that backstop. So that you're doing the best that you can to ensure enforceability, even where we can't promise enforceability in every single section.
Yeah, one more. We have an ordinance, or we had an ordinance, I'm not sure if it's still good or not, where I have a lot next door to my house, and my father-in-law is living alone. I can put a trailer on that lot and let him live there.
No, even by our ordinance now, I think we would interpret that to be in violation
So
of
you've
our
done away with
ordinance.
that ordinance, we had.
Yeah, I know at one point they were allowing accessory structures to be built on single lots that they were in proximity to a principal land use, but that's no longer the case as well.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe
would
there's-
add to that, the planner is correct, and there's an internal reference in at least the zoning ordinance component that I think is correct, that references section 19.19 of the zoning ordinance. That pertains specifically to accessory uses, and I think the term we use is echo homes, and I'm forgetting what the E, C, H, and O, elderly, can't pull it forward. Let me see if I wrote it down someplace else. Nope, just wrote echo. We have a separate section on managing those types of land uses, but where it's on a separate lot entirely, we'll need to sort that out. That will need to get addressed, because that will not be compliant with this ordinance.
Yeah, and it's
So
not
if you
one-
have your father-in-law living next door on the lot, time to move him over to your side of the lot line,
For 30 days.
for whatever the section 1919
Well,
covers,
they
not
used to
this
let him
one.
live there until, whatever, I know Herb Gibbs had his uncle there, next to his house. I had taken out a permit to let my father-in-law, after my mother-in-law died, and he got rid of his house, to live next to us.
This does sound like eco housing.
Yeah,
Elder cottage housing program.
there you go.
Elder cottage housing program.
That's still a thing that can happen, and there's a number of ways we could address that. And in the scenario you're laying out, it would either be, you wanna put it on that property, but even a land, combination could kinda solve the land use
Certainly.
issue there. So there's a lot of options on the table for people when it comes to eco housing.
Okay.
I would just encourage citizens in the township, if they have questions about this in particular, like this is why I have going on, to be transparent, as indicating, and the deals coming tonight was wonderful. If they can reach out to the planner to talk about their concerns and try to get a better understanding of what the township's intent, that will be really helpful, I think, to both the planner and to you all when this comes back.
Miles, section 2, the title has a misspelling.
Okay. It's always fun.
And
Shan?
am I missing, like, what's the punishment?
What do you mean by punishment?
I've now been 31 days, what are you gonna do?
It depends on what tool in the township's toolbox they use, but, we would go with the normal enforcement. Again, education is always the first. If we can gain compliance through education, great. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, that works. The 1 time out of 10 that doesn't work, it's just ticket, right? So we'll start ticketing.
So the ordinance allows for that?
Depending on what ordinance we go through, either the zoning administrator can write a civil citation, or the code and, compliance officer can write a civil citation. If we can't gain compliance through ticketing, then we would move forward with the next step and the enforcement process, which would be getting a court order to get a cease against, improper land use.
How much is that ticket for?
You recently approved changes to your fees last year, but it's the same as if there were any other zoning ordinance violation. They're usually daily fines associated with the zoning ordinance one. The regulatory side is a little different, but those are baked into your existing code of ordinances. So I wanna say it was like 3 months ago that you went through, 3 to 4 months ago, went through and updated all your fees. So we can, certainly we could make sure to bring that information back when this comes up for a decision, to help.
Yeah.
I know Trustee Kellerman has a question. I was gonna say, Supervisor Fewins-Bliss, though we had a situation where, we had a family that was living, their house was unlivable. They were trying to work on their house. They were living in an RV, with their children, and the court stepped in and was providing resources as well. So, we have been through this in terms of, unfortunately, affecting the family, and we're able to work with them and some social workers to get the family relocated to a safe space. But we have been through this unfortunately, and if it was a situation where people were living in that situation, resources are available and we would make every effort. It's not to penalize, it's to help get to safe, healthy living situation. So we have done that before, that's all I'm offering.
But it does seem like it's written that it could be used to, say, break up a homelessness encampment.
I don't know the intent.
Yeah, that's not our intent, I also don't know about homeless encampment, like.
Well, just because one doesn't happen now, I mean, they certainly could happen in the future.
Other places.
Just look at Lansing.
Yeah, I think our intent,
Right.
I would structure our intent more as, again, this goes back, I talk about this, I feel like every time I come here. The basics of zoning is to create land uses that are allowed within different districts and kind of shape the character of those districts. And so all of this is trying to do is preserve how the public has laid out their will over the many decades this has been a zone community. And say the public has determined that they would like this district to have this characteristic, and this would be a tool in the toolbox for us to preserve what the public has said they wish their districts to take the form of.
But doesn't intent go away with time?
Well, I would hope that, to some degree, of course, that's inherently true, but I would always hope as somebody that writes local ordinances, that if they're well-structured and well-crafted, it is something where it's transparent and clear enough that it doesn't really build in that much flexibility. Unlike what I do believe we have now, which you have to interpret to get there. And I have never liked that, cause I don't wanna interpret as a zoning administrator, I wanna know what the rules are.
Sherry, you had something?
Couple of questions. Is farmland, ag land the same as other, how it's zoned? The
We have a-
rules are the same everywhere?
We have a rural district in Bath Township, which would probably be our district whose character most commonly matches what you're talking about, which is an ag district.
Okay, then, do we have an ordinance enforcement person? One question, separate to
Yes.
that. Is that you?
No.
No.
Okay.
It's Roger Dunn.
Okay, and then the other question, you mentioned a complainant of a neighbor is the most likely way you would find out. Are they identified? It's a personal question.
Do they identify themselves? you mean?
No, well, would, if I complained about you putting your trailer next door to me, would I be identified to him in any way, shape, or form?
I see what you're saying.
Our process is meant to be anonymous, so that even when people file a complaint, they can provide their name, but in working with FOIA, a lot of times, people wish to remain anonymous, so that is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we handle that, just to say, that comes up a lot,
It
because
does.
Yeah,
we'll
well-
go to enforcement, like, hey, we have this rule, Mr. Homeowner, you know, we'd like to inform you about this Bath Township policy, and then of course, it's always,
Who complains?
who called you?
Right.
That's like the immediate follow-up question.
And it could be dangerous.
And most of the time, just somebody driving down the road, and they're like, oh, look at that, I'm gonna call the township,
Yeah?
small town.
Yes, in your statement of, it hasn't happened in Bath Township, it did. At the end of Coleman Road and Park Lake Road, the Baker Farm there was a house and a barn. The kids were going out and living in the woods besides the people that lived in the house. And there was probably 100 at that time. And, to get it cleared out, they, brought the fire department out and the police department. And, the fire department started spraying the people and
Jeez.
getting them out of there.
Yeah, let's not do that again.
Yeah, I happened to drive by it and see it at the time that it happened. Of course, I live in Park Lake and, but it was quite, it was before homeless people were known as homeless people. This is probably 30 years ago.
Yeah, well, again, I don't know, but I'll just say that I think creating clear expectations and reasonable, standards hopefully would mitigate externalities.
That was the most government answer you've ever said in your life.
I love it. I'm a very government guy.
Any other questions for the planner? I think we're covering A and B together, right?
Yeah, that's, I don't think there's much value in probably talking about them separately. I understand for, agenda reasons and voting reasons, how it has to be structured, so.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you all.
That brings us to item 14AC, construction of Chandler Road and sanitary sewer improvements. We have an agreement for improvements on Clinton County roads from the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Let me just readjust here. So you have in the packet for you tonight, my memo, which indicates the next step, which I know you love, Mr. Supervisor. But many people often ask, like, what is the next step? What can I anticipate? Sometimes it it'll be back for your action next time, or it needs to visit with another party before it comes back to you. The second item is a letter from Mark Prine of Prine and Newhoff, who is the engineer that is working on the project, administering the project on behalf of the Clinton County Road Commission and the Township improvements. So he has laid out here some of the history that you are all aware of, as Ryan and I, the supervisor, and I have worked through this, is that back in 2023, the initial request, funding request of the state was $12,100,000. Of course, we received an earmark of $10 million, which is significantly different and has impacted the project a great deal. As we've worked through the necessary funding of this project, which you will see on the last page of the packet materials for this, is an agreement for improvements on Clinton County roads. This has come from the Road Commission. What you have is project engineering costs and contingency and property acquisition. Third line is the township's earmark portion and the construction share that we will need to fund through a bond, in addition to the township's portion of the earmark. And then Clinton County Road Commission's allocation and earmark portion, and those are divided, I think, at 68 and 32%, with the 32% being the township's funding. What Mark is asking for here is explaining how the project is broken down, how far our money will get us, and then indicating that there will be a need for a not-to-exceed resolution to be passed at this body, both for when they take bids, it'll allow us to proceed with bidding and working with a contractor to further reach the final numbers for this project. But then in addition, there will be documents that will come to you as a result of our needing to bond, which will include that not to exceed amount as well, that Treasurer Jennifer Wilson and I will work on with this body's support. So if you have any questions, if we need other parties to sit with us, Brad has been involved with, I think, almost every meeting we've had on this project, Miles as well. So there is a team of 3 of us here that can answer any of your questions that we have worked through the past 6 year, it feels like forever. So we continue to meet multiple times, sometimes a week on this project. So if you have any questions, please let us know how we can assist your understanding and to getting where we need to be at next meeting to pass both the agreement with Clinton County Road Commission and then the not to exceed amount of Bath's portion of the project.
So you're saying we would bond the 1.5?
So it's necessary for us, we have been working with, not Baker Tilly, Benzinski, thank you, Brad, on multiple projects that need funds on behalf of the township that we're working on, which could include both the sewer lining that we're working on out front here on Webster Road, as well as this project, as well as other projects that are in our master plan. So we would not be bonding just 1.5 million. It would be a combined amount that we are in need of for sewer repairs and maintenance this year. But yes, we would need an additional 1.5 million.
And what's the deadline of us having that?
So in working with the road commission, bonding takes about 4 months. So they're willing to accept the board's not to exceed resolution as an indicator of this is the amount you're willing to put towards this project. And that would allow us the flexibility to move forward with a contractor and begin the work, so that we didn't have to stall any of the work, because that's the last thing we want to do is hold up this project any additional amount of time.
Are the other projects going to kick off in '26?
Yes, 26 and 27. And there would be work during the winter time as well, if I'm correct on the new, we've developed into a schedule where we need to be more flexible and allow some things to occur in times we wouldn't have normally allowed work. But to finish this project in the time frame of spending the money and completing the project, there will need to be work continuously.
Are you talking about this project or the other projects?
This project would need to occur over almost a 1.5 to 2 year period.
My question is about the other projects.
They are not all gonna occur during that same time frame. No.
No, will any of them occur in 2026?
The lining will.
Okay. And how much is that?
At this point, I think it's about 1.7 to 2 million.
Yeah, I think that was the last estimate, I mean, those were about a year old.
Okay.
And how much is in our fund balance?
I would defer to the clerk, but it's over $1 million at this point. One of our resolutions will include the ability to pay ourselves back. Should we pay for those things out of funds that we currently have, we could also pay ourselves back out of the bond funds. Al?
We got $10 million. The first bid was $12 million. If we're paying 1.5, what is the county paying? They're taking percentage, the big percentage of that money out of that 10 million.
So they have, their funding formula gives them 68%. They're also taking care of the enclosing of the drainage ditch, some of the non-motorized pathway, as well as the road work. Their portion contains almost everything else besides the sewer work.
Al, they took out about $2 million from the 10,
Yeah.
and then they allocated the rest, which comes out to 38% of the rest of the money, not 38% of the 10 million.
62.
They're calling it
62
shared
and
engineering
If
costs.
they wait many more years, we'll have to pay for the whole thing, with the way prices are going.
I had to do that math.
I'm
as
sorry,
well,
it was
'cause didn't make
62%
sense.
and 38%. I had it backwards.
But
I had
it's 62 and
32.
38 of the remaining funds,
Correct.
not the full 10.
Yeah, because there is administration costs that, and engineering contingency, property acquisition. There's a great deal of funds in there that are being utilized,
Would you
but
bring this to the road committee when you come to meet with us?
will I bring it?
Yeah, so we can understand what they're doing.
I don't know that there will be time between now and the 17th of February, but I'm certainly willing to bring it and discuss it,
Call
yes.
George.
And our portion isn't road, our portion is sewer.
Our portion is all sewer.
Yeah, but it's supposed to cover sewer and the road, when we applied for it.
Correct.
Now we're paying for the sewer.
Well, not all of it.
No.
2.7 million still out of that.
Yeah.
And I will say that when we were, I don't know if negotiating is the right term, but discussing this with the road commission, what we pushed for, Karen and I, was that we kept the ratio that was guaranteed and proposed in the 10 million to whatever we were going to do now. And what it turned out to be was about 40-60. So they've been very close to keeping the ratio. Of that earmark, we're still getting, we, meaning them, but to do this, is about 40%.
So they're putting quite a bit of money into it also.
So I recognize the feeling you're having because it's something that Brad and Mark and I have all discussed. Miles too, he's shaking his head. No meaningful expansion of business or development can come on Chandler Road unless the sewer is improved and expanded. And I recognize a road's a road, and that's not gonna bring more development, but the sewer certainly will. So we see this project as, of course, the most integral part is the sewer. But they work in roads all the time, so they, of course, think that their part is also, very important. But, I think our team naturally understands that nothing happens without more sewer or improved expanded sewer capacity. It's a conversation that Brad and I have frequently.
I think the planning commission's already had a project come before us that we had to.
Correct. I believe.
Put off at least a year because.
Correct.
There's no sewer.
There is none, yeah. So for any apartment complexes, anything else to come, it needs this to happen.
What is the county putting in for the rest of the road project?
So I know that there are funds in their allocation earmark portion of the 62%, and the contingency and property acquisition that if not utilized, if you wanna weigh in on this, you can.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, go ahead, please.
And just, kind of the bigger part of the issue, and Karen and I are on the same page, and we've had plenty of discussions, the issue lying with, the road commission could more easily shrink their project and eliminate costs and put it within their budget, where in the township has that choice too. That's the alternates we're looking to get, but the overall goal, the big picture, we're trying to get everything we can, which is eliminate as many stations down there as we can, because that's the overarching big issue that's causing not only issues down there, but downstream coming this way. So that's part of why the township's piece isn't high as it is, hey, to get the goal, that's what we think it's gonna cost. Come bid day, who knows?
Yeah.
That could change and we'd have to pivot and make a different choice. But the road commission pared their project down.
So they were telling us it was gonna be 14 million, so they were able to squeeze like $3 million out of their project?
Yeah, they shrunk it quite a bit. I mean, they basically went away from widening the road to what they wanted,
Yeah.
and basically put it back exactly the way it is. They shrunk it way down. They aren't closing near as much drain. I mean, they eliminated a lot of drain enclosure. So like I said, it was easier for them to eliminate these things without derailing the overall goal.
Yes.
There was more wants than needs, where the township's needs is the sewer idealistically, to eliminate O&M costs and, through the system, is to try to still get this bigger solved.
So
That's fascinating.
any funds that aren't spent on behalf of the roads, like in contingency property acquisition, will be put into their portion of making the project come further north. At this time, I think they're predicted to stop at, is it Coleman?
I think the
State?
State road.
So any further funding that they can pick up that's not utilized will help them come further north.
And when Senator Singh came a few weeks ago and talked at our meeting and was explaining the new road funding, he specifically mentioned that could go towards a project like what we were doing on Chandler Road. Has there been any discussion, and I know the road commission gets that money, but has there been any discussion about that money, that even though they're not gonna get it till like 27?
Right.
would?
So the supervisor and I have been kind of asking questions of Doug Steffen, the director of the Clinton County Road Commission, to get at the heart of that, to understand what the formula might be, but really, I don't think we've made a lot of progress in understanding what that might look like at this point.
Okay.
if I may,
Yes, please.
to add a little more context to it, there was a significant amount of effort put in place to not tie the two projects too closely together, so the funding wouldn't overlap. So the sewer was taken back out of the road, which originally we had in the road, but then those numbers started to shift too much in one direction. That wasn't beneficial for necessarily the township. So we took it back out of the road. There was a conscious effort with the team, both sides, to make sure that that's clear cut as far as who's getting what, who's paying for what. And that's the final project that is now being ready to be.
Yeah. So the township has approximately, I think it's 4 different levers that we can pull, if you might. If this project comes in high, we can redesign some things, we can scale some things back. So we do have some options when the numbers come in. At this time, Miles is taking part in negotiations over easements with Mark Trotter and Miles, and I'm not sure who else, Jake Perkins on behalf of the Road Commission. So we're at the point where we're having these discussions about easements And then most likely we'll move to the bidding portion of this project, which is really what we all are desiring to get to, because that's when we will really understand what this project is gonna cost in today's dollars for a contractor working with us.
And you're anticipating work in 2026? Yeah?
Yeah,
But most
probably
import-
late summer.
Most importantly, is the road gonna be completely closed?
So there are, and Brad and Miles may be able to speak to this too, there's also work that's gonna take place on 27. The road will not be completely closed. I believe, this is where I think Coleman comes into. I think they're hoping to have Coleman open from Chandler to, is it Coolidge? And through, so that there can be some rerouting of work in the Lake Lansing area as well. So we understand that all these things are occurring at the same time, and it's gonna cause a huge frustrating headache for many, many people that
Your
pass
answer is
through this
yes.
area. Correct.
Formally say though, that is MDOT's fault.
That's what, MDOT? Okay, we'll blame MDOT.
Don't forget, we're having an election in November.
Correct. But we're doing the best we can with all projects concerned and trying to make sure people can get where they need to go.
Sounds like they'd be coming around Park Lake.
Possibly.
That's what we need. Put them on Drumheller.
Brenda, do you know how much is in the fund balance?
No,
No.
maybe Jennifer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said Clerk, but she meant to try.
Oh, okay, I didn't
Oh, I'm
understand
sorry,
why she
Brenda.
said
That's
clerk, but I
okay.
thought
I
maybe you were
misspoke.
just up on it, and I
No,
would
no.
I
She meant
ask
to-
misspoke. I'm sorry. The treasurer, it knows those funds and invests those funds. So my apologies, Brenda.
Other questions, thoughts?
So what we'll come to next time is the agreement that you have. I think it's the last page, 54 of that material, which is an agreement for the improvement of Clinton County Road Commission, and then a resolution not to exceed, which will allow us to move forward with the best, most appropriate bidder, allow us to negotiate, move forward with the project.
Is there something different with the two agreements that are in the packet?
Is there some,
They look like the same.
One has a project number, that's the only thing
Oh.
I can see different.
we may have just had, I received an initial one from Clinton County, and then they asked me to let them know when I was good to have them send over the formal agreement. So the formal agreement might be the one with the number,
Okay,
project number at the top.
but the resolution isn't in here, right?
No, it's not.
Okay,
No, we'll have to draft that with Benzinski.
got it.
Okay. So there is time, if you think of something that you didn't think of tonight, we'd be happy to discuss it, or help you work through whatever questions you have. This has been very complicated, there are a lot of moving parts, and I am relying heavily upon Miles and Brad and our team with Clinton County to keep it moving and make decisions and understand. So, but I can tell you that all parties that are working on behalf of Bath Township, including Prina Newhoff, who is our sewer engineer, have been doing a great job on our behalf.
I don't know that we have talked much at the board level about the level of bonding that we're going to need to do, so I would
think that's correct.
anticipate that folks probably need to be a little slow walked,
Okay,
since this is just a piece of it, but we're talking about
much larger.
millions of dollars more.
Correct.
I mean, unless folks feel like they are up to date on that. No, okay.
Okay.
I just don't want you to
Yeah.
come and say like, we're ready to bond, and the board be like, bond what, and how much money?
I appreciate that reminder. Things that are common every day in my world are not of commonplace to you all, so I appreciate keeping that on first and foremost in my mind so I can help you through the process.
So we may bond for more than $1.5 million?
We will
Okay.
inevitably need to,
Multiple projects is what she's saying.
yeah,
Yeah, that's,
yeah. Thank you.
I was, in my head, I was trying to figure out, where the heck did that $4,189,000 come from? And so I turned the page and there it was.
All right, if there's nothing else on that topic, we'll move on to 14AD, which is the transfer of uniform video service local franchise agreement for Wide Open West.
Thank you. One of my longer memos in the packet, on page 55. This transfer will indeed need to be reviewed by our legal counsel and brought back to the board, which Lizzie and Chris, most likely Chris will work on. And then this is the result of Wide Open West, as we all know as WOW. Has been purchased by a parent company called Bandit Midco Inc. And due to this change in ownership, the township received this attached request for the franchise agreement to be transferred to them. These usually are pretty standard for us. I don't know that I've seen a transfer before, but we work through franchise agreements all the time. So this will indeed be reviewed, brought back to you, and we will act upon it at our next meeting on February 17th.
Is this revenue generating at all?
The franchise fees, yes, come to the township.
Is that outlined here? I'm
As a
sorry if I
result
missed
of,
it.
no, it would have been in the original agreement, which I will have to dig out for legal counsel to review. But that is where the fees come in, but
Will you send that
yes.
to us when you dig it out?
I can.
Thank you. Do we have any authority to tell them they need to be better? I mean,
Not
people
usually.
just absolutely despise them and.
So I had a discussion recently with Chris over that. I don't know if Lizzie would like to speak to that, but there's very little we can do to be tougher on them. Usually the right-of-way permits come from the road commission, and I'll tell you, the road commission works very hard make sure that they are cleaning up if they destroy something or lay new groundwork, that they clean up after themselves and
That's just not the
restore.
problem with crappy service.
No, it's not. But no, this is not the place where we,
Who decides on the franchise fees? Is that state set?
in my understanding, it's the state. I was looking for the nod. Correct.
So this is sort of pro forma for us.
And you can see when they sent the agreement along, I think on the last page of that agreement, or the couple of the last pages, are all of the municipalities they have this agreement with. It's the last, it's 61, 62, and 63, are all the municipalities that they have the same agreement with. So we are one of many.
And this agreement is so that they can provide service to the township, is that just in general terms?
And usually, if there's an initial agreement, it indicates where they intend to lay infrastructure as well.
I'm wondering about the word video in that. I wondered why they had to put that in there. I don't understand that totally.
I don't know either, honestly.
And,
It used to be cable, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Television.
coax, yeah. Maybe it's not all fiber yet, but it's gonna be.
Well, they don't even do cable anymore, do they?
Yeah, they have to, because if you don't have fiber.
I have,
I'm saying
I,
cable TV.
I have WOW, and I no longer have cable
I don't think
TV.
they
I have
offer
a
cable TV
YouTube
anymore.
TV
Yeah.
that I use. They no longer have like a traditional cable box.
Oh,
It's
I
internet coming into the house, and then if I want to, I can watch regular TV on a YouTube channel.
I have a Fire Stick.
Oh, I do, I have one of those as well.
Might as well get the rabbit ears out.
Go outside with the antenna.
Anyway.
Nope, stand there. Spent a great deal of the 80s doing that.
Tell you what, that regular antenna with a rotor box still works really well.
We had one of those at my home growing up, so.
I get 32 channels that way.
Wow. I mean, I think we got the local
impressive.
channels and maybe PBS or something, but, yeah.
All right, well, that brings us to new business items for action, of which there are none. And I'm gonna turn it over, item 15, the superintendent's report.
So I will remind you all that, of course, we have a meeting coming up on Thursday from 3 to 6. We will plan to serve some snacks, some light refreshments, but we will not be providing you dinner, so you will need to eat, Ray. And we will make sure that your belly doesn't grumble during the time that we are all together. We will have an agenda for that meeting. If there are materials that Rod Taylor chooses to, it will be about it being ready prior to the meeting and being able to distribute it to you. But I don't know that we'll be that far with the adoption, with the materials that we have for that meeting, so.
I have some for you.
Okay. If you want to forward those, we'll make sure the video is available to you all as well.
Yeah.
And help you if you need any help logging into MTA with your membership credentials. As you are all aware, Samantha Evans went off to work in DeWitt Township today as their deputy clerk. So We, the clerk and the treasurer and I, along with our deputy superintendent, are working on negotiating and shifting a lot of the responsibilities in the front office around, because we all co-manage those people in the front office, making sure that we're providing good customer support for people, but also shifting the work around so that it's fair and equal, and that we still have our separation of roles and responsibilities so that we don't flunk our audits and things of that nature. So those checks and balances are very important, and we work to make sure that those are in place. As many of you are aware, you received an email from our assessor, Beth Kotke, today, and she intends to retire June 30th of 2026. We will, if you haven't seen your email, that's in your email. Now we will move on with making sure that we have a succession plan in place and that we have somebody that will be able to handle our assessing, whether that's a new assessor or a consultant or an independent contractor. So we will move forward with some of those decisions. And if we need your assistance, we would be bringing those items to you, but certainly we'll keep you up to date as we move through that process. The fire administrative assistant firefighter medical first responder position has been posted. At this time, I think we have 3 applications, and we will continue to accept those through Wednesday, February 4th. And we'll keep you posted as to how that goes. The first review will be between the fire chief and I'll see how I can support him, but this may be in his boat, this might be in a combined boat with him and I, but he and I will work through that and determine how we are going to move through the hiring process. As I indicated earlier this meeting, I will be bringing a departmental reporting plan to you on the 17th. The meeting on the 17th is a Tuesday because of President's Day. So just remember that. It will not be that Monday the 16th. It will be Tuesday the 17th. And then last but not least, the treasurer and I went to a Remy Chandler drain meeting over in DeWitt Township last week. They are planning on a new assessment for drain improvements and maintenance. And we have been attending those meetings, and we're waiting for the next meeting to be called. It's very possible as we move through some of the things that are available to us as township officials, we may pass that assessment along to our residents. That has not yet been determined. I don't want anybody to panic or think that decision has been made. But working through what that amount is and who it might affect will be one of the things that I think will be available to us to try to understand and make a decision on. So the treasurer has been attending those meetings with me and collecting information about how that process may work. There are some other municipalities in Clinton County that also do that. So we're trying to understand that process and if it might be something that we would bring to the board to take under consideration. So stay tuned on that. There is a lot going on in my office in supporting Mr. Taylor and putting his packet of information together. He needed a lot from us in terms of background information and decisions that have been made by this body over time that will help him bring those final options to you. Lizzie, legal counsel, has asked me if she needs to be at that meeting. Well, I don't think so. I think there should be a conversation about whether she is needed or not needed. So we still have some things to talk about as we plan and prepare for that meeting. So if you have any questions, please look me up or Taylor. There is a lot going on, but we aim to keep you and your questions answered, and so you feel like you're in the know and know what's going on around here. So please let us know where we can help you understand better or answer your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thoughts? All right.
Thank you.
We will move to public statement 2. This is the second opportunity for folks in the audience to make a statement up to 3 minutes on any township business to the board. If anyone would like to do that, please step up to the lectern, introduce yourself, and we'll get our magic clock moving.
Ryan, when you said you interrupted me, I lost my train of thought. My train of thought was that my girlfriend's parents have a camper, and they come visit us and they park in our driveway. Now they can only do that 4 times a year. They don't come in our house because they don't like our dog. We have 3 dogs. They don't want to be in the dogs. I'm not complaining about that. I'm not good with that number. We can lower that, but the wording that I take issue with on this is under the definitions, mobile quarters, unit is designed, intended for, used for occupancy. I think that's where my issue is. If it didn't say that, I wouldn't care anything about it. And while I'm here, I'm gonna go into a couple other real quick things. The citizen group update, you mentioned you're not going to record those. They're open to the public, but they're not recorded. I don't understand that. We've got the commitment, we paid, what, $50,000 for this thing? And you think that recording, if it's public, can go to it, record it. I'm too busy to go to them, I'm chasing a 17-year-old around, cheerleading, basketball, whatever she's gotta do, I can't make it to them. But I watch every one of your meetings habitually. I read these every time they come out. I would love to know what's going on with the other meetings. But if you guys can't record them for any really valid reason, I'm confused. And the last comment I have, I work in data communications. I do IT work. I was responsible for a company. I had 40 locations throughout the country. Every one of those had a backup data line coming in from a cable company or something non-fiber. Huawei was my best vendor. And I have it at home here. And you think, I have access to 100 gig internet connection. I can drive one of my plants and I've got 100 gig internet connection. I have no problems with my line here. I have more uptime. The downtime is less here than it is some of my $30,000 a month lines. A lot of it is our house wire. First thing I did when I bought my house here 5 years ago is I redid the wiring in the house for my internet. And I literally have, and I measure this, a 99.9947 uptime at home, other than my machines. If I bring my machines down or for whatever reason, I subtract that time from, but when they're running, it's almost that solid. And I have options for Xfinity and Frontier. God, I wish I could keep them from sending me email or sending messages every day. I get something in the mail at least 4 times a week from one of those two. I don't want them. I've called them and asked them to stop sending it to me because I'm happy with Huawei. Xfinity, my mother had it. She started off at $42 a month, ended at $198 a month. Frontier is what they had out here, and it's just crap, horrible. So I'd be kind of careful what you wish for. If you don't like WOW, check your own cabling because your other opportunities are not any better. That comes from 26 years of experience.
Yeah, we
It's
know
a
what that
loud
sounds
one.
like now.
Well, thank you. Apparently your time is up.
We've never used that before.
Yeah, I want to run into that time.
Anybody else want to give public comment?
I have wow.
Thank you,
and
sir.
it's perfect.
That's great. It's the #1 complaint I get from residents.
What's it?
What's
Wow.
Really, because I would agree
Mine never goes
with
down.
our public statement. I don't have issues with it, and I see a lot of people, all of our residents have issues with it and make those complaints known on Facebook, and I just don't share those complaints.
Maybe he's got.
Operator error.
Unfortunate.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
All right, well, that brings us to board member comments, and Sherry, it is your turn to start.
No comment. Maybe he's right on WOW that we're hearing all this. I never heard anything like that before. My wiring in my house?
Could happen.
Ray?
Oh, I just want to thank the superintendent for the virtual plethora of information tonight. A lot of work going on. And we have our work cut out for us as well. Had an opportunity with Ryan this morning to meet with Bridget Brink, who is running for Alyssa Slotkin's old position. And very personable woman. She was the former ambassador to Ukraine, and she resigned because of how Trump was treating things, her words. And I for one, was very impressed. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. I also wanted to mention the meeting this morning. It's not often that you get invited by a congressional candidate to talk about what's happening in a township like Bath, and I appreciate that she saw Bath as a vital part of the
It was just the 4 of us.
the community. So worth checking out. Next meeting, we will talk about some shifting of meetings in the April-May timeframe. Those of us going to MTA would not be able to be at the April 20th meeting, and then we have an election on May 6th,
Fifth, I think,
May 5th, so the meeting's on the 4th.
yes.
So we are going to pitch to you all to sort of combine those meetings into an April 27th meeting, so I just want to put that on your radar. And then lastly, if you do intend to go to the MTA conference, I know 4 of us are signed up for that. You'll want to get our staff to get you signed up while there is still some housing in the greater Traverse City area to take you.
Also, we don't get to stay in the tower.
You would have had you registered when it was first open. They literally have a housing time that they start and you have to get in at 9
Well,
o'clock and get
It's always,
the,
you have a block, and when it's used up or the time allotment goes, then you move on. I've done that a lot with clubs I belong to.
well, good, you're gonna do it again.
That's okay.
That's it for
B&B is
me.
fine.
Brenda.
No comment.
No, I've said enough already.
Kate?
I was just gonna comment that, we set aside the money to start our public art project, and I really think we should get that off the ground very quickly. By the time we put out a request for our applicants to be on it and approve them and then get going, that's gonna leave us probably just a year for us to get this project done. And I'm not an artist, I don't know how fast art can happen, but I wanna make sure that people have the time they need.
I talked to Michigan Art Sculpture. It's in Leslie, excuse me. And they're a foundry that does bronze sculpture. You know, they cast them for the artists, and I just asked him for a list of artists, and I wanted to apprise them of what we're, you know, if they might want to come up with something, so that's my
Thanks.
contribution.
Anything else?
Happy Super Bowl week to those who celebrate.
I like that.
That's all I've got.
All right, if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move, we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a voice